What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, like normal on a Monday, I'm going to go through the two best setups that I'm seeing potentially for this week. So this week, the two main setups are going to be, as you can tell by the title, UJ and Euro Pound. So if we get up some clean charts, first of all, we'll go through those now. All right, on on UJ, if we go on the daily time frame first of all, you can see that this pair has been bullish for a long time, and at the moment there is no reason to suspect that it might be reversing. So if we just look at this most recent price action, we've had a sweep of all this liquidity on the daily. We've had a daily break of structure, as this was the daily pullback. Then we had this big impulsive move up, taking out that daily structure. And on the 4 hour, we also had a further break of structure just here. As I would consider this move down a pullback, and then we had a break. But what we also did was generate some 4 hour liquidity. In this sort of region, we had these two equal lows. And what I noticed was that we had this area of imbalanced demand just below. In this region just here, which price has now came and tapped into very nicely, taking out this liquidity here from the early buyers who were the inducement above that zone. We also have, if you trade support and resistance, a pretty nice break and retest. So we've had a break of this high, price came back, retested the previous liquidity in this region, and has shown bullish intent away from that area. So what I'm seeing now is for price to come for the opposing liquidity, which would be this high. And that is going to be our first target for the buy position, which we are going to look for. So if we go over to the lower time frames, and now we just focus on this trend here. We were in the downtrend, printing lower lows and lower highs. As you can see, price then had a break of structure here, creating that lower low. Once price did that, we then tapped into our area for our demand. And once price did that, this sort of downtrend structure broke and we had a higher high created. So now what we are anticipating is that for price will come down into some sort of area and create a higher low for then buys up to this previous high. So if we mark that on, we have a break of this structure. That is the change of character or break of structure, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. And price now has traded towards this sort of imbalance. So we wouldn't really expect price to reverse from here, which is why I'm seeing buy continuations, at least up until this high. And one potential area where I'm going to be looking to get in the trade is if you look at this region here on the 30-minute. This here is a discounted area of demand, which was left imbalanced. And we have this area of liquidity just above it here as well, which induced this area of demand. As you can see, if we look closer, this was never filled. It was still left imbalanced. All of the areas below are efficient, so price doesn't have much reason to come lower than this zone. So yeah, we have multiple confluences for this trade now. We have price came into that higher time frame area of interest. We have a change of character on the 30-minute and obviously any time frames lower. Price left us behind this area of imbalanced demand with liquidity above. And if we also look closer, this demand also took out liquidity to the left. You can see we had these sort of equal lows. This demand wicked them out, tapped into this sort of area down here. And then that led us onto that break of structure. So what we're waiting for now is that retracement into this previous zone to then buy up to this previous high. As for a long-term target, we are at the moment technically in this daily area of supply. But if we go back in time and refine that a little bit, what we can see is that within this area, we actually have this refined 30-minute level, which price left equal highs below just here. So I think price will most likely come for this liquidity before, if any, we see a reaction to the downside. Obviously, price could just go straight through this level, but in my opinion, before price reverses or potentially reverses, as we obviously don't know, it will almost certainly come to this level first to take out that previous liquidity. As at the moment, price is clearly bullish on all time frames, with the order flow is clearly to the upside. We've taken out previous supply and previous downtrend structure, and then just respecting demand. So that would be my outlook for UJ. Wait for a retracement into a discount and then buy up to the previous high. So as for Euro pound, this one's quite interesting because I'm going to be looking to get in on buys and sells. So if we look on the 4-hour, actually, if we start on, we'll start on the daily. On the daily time frame, we have had something interesting happen. So we've had a sweep of these previous lows. This looked like a breaker structure at the time, but price swept the lows. Then we impulsively moved over to the upside, taking out this previous structure in here. That's our change of character on the daily time frame. So what I am anticipating this week is for price to come towards previous demand at this sort of area. As you can see, this was the last candle, which caused this move up, left the imbalance, and we had multiple areas of liquidity where people were buying above it as well. So I do expect price to come to at least this level before we see any major moves to the upside. Obviously, we could also just have price close below this level and continue down. But if we were to see the buys, price would most likely come to at least this zone and wouldn't, it wouldn't fly from where it currently is. It has no reason to. It hasn't taken enough liquidity, which leads us on to the sells. Since we are anticipating that price will come to at least this level, we want to also jump in some sells down towards that level. And one of the potential areas where we could see that is where price is right now in this sort of 4-hour supply, and also a retest of previous structure. Another confluence we had was that price generated this sort of area of liquidity below it. So at the moment, we're going to be monitoring this level and seeing if we can get an entry. The ideal scenario would be that we see something like this. At the moment, this is clearly just a retracement, as price has been very bullish during London session. We've just had this big push up. So price is now just retracing. So in order to get an entry for the sells on this trade, what we'll be looking for would be for something like this, where we have the retracement, price then comes up, liquidates these early sellers at the bottom of the zone, comes into like a sort of more premium level of this supply, takes out previous structure just here, and then we get a retracement into structure, and we can look to sell down to our demand, where then we can look for buys if they manifest, or if they don't, doesn't really matter. If this level here fails, we could also see price come higher into a premium of the leg. So the next level that I'd be looking at sells at would be this one, simply because all of these areas below, like this one here, and this one, they're all efficient, except for this one. This one is imbalanced, but it looks like, doesn't look the strongest. And on the higher time frame, it just looks like an area of liquidity that price will come and take out. This one is at a premium and it has all of the liquidity just below it as well. So if this current sell level fails, we will most likely see price head back towards this zone. But like I said, price is still very bearish at the moment. You can see that by this sort of momentum. So obviously we needed a pullback. And in my opinion, based on the momentum, price will most likely not come all the way back to here, and we'll get some sort of reaction in this zone. And then if we do, we can of course look for the sells and then back to this level for potential buys. Another thing we could see, if this area of demand does fail, we could see price lead towards this demand, which was obviously left in balance. We had the liquidity above, and this was the current daily breaker structure as well. So overall price is bullish on the daily. This was the current daily breaker structure. So on a macro scale, we could see it come back towards this level. And then we would need to see those higher time frames switch bullish again in order to take some buys and probably long-term buys back to this wick as well. But we'll have to see what happens. Obviously, that's quite a lot of pips away. So just focusing on this sort of intraday price action right here at the moment, that is what we are seeing. Be patient and wait for the sells at this sort of zone if they do present. And then we can also wait for the buys at this zone just here to buy back up to previous highs, or depending on how structure forms at the time, we can look for take profits then. But currently, that is all I'm seeing on Europound and UJ. So I hope you guys find this video useful. If you have any potential setups you are looking at this week, make sure to drop them in the description below. If you haven't already as well, I have a free trading community with over 50+ traders. If you want to join that completely free, I'll leave a link in the description below where we share all our analysis, network, and share ideas and stuff like that. But thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.